All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I will be up in a moment here. We're on YouTube now, and we're going to be up on Facebook in a moment here. YouTube. All right, folks. Let's get the Facebook side of things up, and we'll be underway here. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Facebook is up and YouTube is up as well. Let's make the adjustment here. Okay, welcome. We are still in the middle of the move, and that's everything's pretty much going according to plan. I don't know if this needs to be. We'll just kill this just in case. All right, people in the room, please hit one. Please hit one. Facebook too. I see a couple people in on the Facebook side of things. But if you can hear me, please hit one. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're still in the middle of the move. Jerry, I see you. Shout out to Jerry. Still in the move. You can still see Breezy up there, so I'm not fully moved until Breezy come with me. And Uncle Billy, where Uncle Billy at? Breezy and Uncle Billy, they're up top. So yeah, the scenery be changing soon. Yeah. So other than that, what do I want to talk about? Yeah, I wanted to talk about some some more things that we should be familiar with, ladies and gentlemen, if we are preparing for the aviation selection test, actually all the aptitude tests. I wanted to just touch on some things. Today we are going to cut this short, and I apologize because we got this move going on, and it's just really like I'm trying to get home at a decent hour, get some rest. But I will hit you guys with some stuff before I go. Okay. We talked about that. We talked about all that good stuff. And you guys, even though you're going to be aviators, fixed wing aviators, you're planning to be fixed wing aviators as far as you know, because it depends on the needs of the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. You will have to be familiar with rotary wing aerodynamics. Okay. But even before we go into that, you need to be familiar with weight definitions. The first weight we're going to talk about is empty weight. Empty weight is used for design purposes and usually does not affect service activities. Empty weight includes aircraft structure, weight plus communications, control, electrical, hydraulic, instrument, and power plant systems, furnishings, anti-icing equipment, auxiliary power plant, flotation, landing gear, and armament, anchor, and tow provisions. All right, so your basic empty weight is just kind of like the aircraft. We're not taking fuel into account when we talk about our basic empty weight. Might be the fuel like in the lines and things of that nature. Basic empty weight. The basic empty weight of an aircraft is including all hydraulic and oil systems full. So the fuel, the unusable fuel, and the fluids that normally accompany oil and hydraulics and stuff will be in it, and all fixed equipment. From basic weight total, it is only, from that total, we only need to add our air crew, fuel, cargo, ammunition if carried, and any type of armament or anything like that. Basic empty weight, or basic weight varies with structural modifications and changes of fixed aircraft equipment. All right. Operating weight. Your operating weight includes basic weight plus air crew baggage, emergency gear, and other equipment required. Operating weight does not include weight of fuel, ammunition, bombs, cargo, or external auxiliary fuel tanks. Okay. Gross weight. Your gross weight is the total weight of your aircraft and its content. So pretty much like, everything's loaded on. Your gross takeoff weight. Takeoff weight includes operating weight plus fuel, cargo, ammunition, bombs, auxiliary fuel tanks, and other materials carried. All right. Drew, how you doing, buddy? Landing gross weight. All right. Landing gross weight is takeoff gross weight minus items expended during flight, like if you release some fuel tanks or whatever and stuff like that. You don't want to be over, like if you have a maximum landing weight, you don't want to be over that. Yeah, boy, we're pretty good. Okay. All right. So this is why, like, if you had to do an immediate landing after takeoff, because there was some type of something weird going on with the aircraft, you, depending on your aircraft, you may need to dump some fuel to reduce the weight, because you don't want to be over your gross landing weight, because you could structurally damage like your aircraft landing gear, or the compression of the landing gear and stuff like that could make your wings kind of flex a little bit more than you really want them to. So you don't want the structural issues going on with the aircraft. Useful load. Useful load is the difference between empty and gross, and includes fuel, oil, crew, passengers, cargo, and other material carried. Total aircraft weight. Total aircraft weight includes the sum of operating weight and the weight of takeoff fuel. So weight and balance is something that we don't really get into a whole heck of a lot, and we should. All right. Look for my little miniature aircraft. And as we look at this helicopter here, we don't want it to be too nose heavy, and then we don't want it to be too tail heavy. So we want, after we load everything, we want the center of gravity, well, in this particular case, we want it to be slightly in front of the mast or after the mast, but never very, very far from the mast, because this is kind of where our total lift is produced. All right. So we can load our aircraft in such a way so that the center of gravity floats forward, backwards, and then we have to also take into consideration that the center of gravity moves. As we fly around, your center of gravity is moving because the fuel doesn't have the same amount of fuel in it, in the tanks, in that forward station or that rearward station. Or what we would do primarily is burn the outboard tanks and then the inboards. All right. So, there's different ways we can burn fuel for weight and balance. But what you would do is consult your pilot operating handbook. Your pilot operating handbook is the best tool to tell you how to conduct operations in your particular aircraft. Some call it a POH-1. There's so many names, but whatever your instructor tells you, that POH or that pilot operating handbook is, that's the pilot operating handbook that you're going to use. And that is your Bible. It's your Bible, okay, for that particular aircraft. It's going to be speeds, limitations, procedures, normal, emergency procedures that you're going to have to follow. And this comes from the manufacturer. It's kind of like the manufacturer's like the mom. Mother knows best. So you would definitely be adhering to these limitations that are dictated by the operating handbook that comes from or is published by the manufacturer. Okay, so I'm checking my Gmail looking for questions. All right. Just make sure nothing is coming that I've already recently talked about. All right. Okay, so I don't see any questions, and I haven't seen any questions coming on Skype. So until that happens, I'm going to just go on ahead with my spiel. Okay, so if you follow me on Facebook, and I will put the link down so any YouTubers that are in here can follow me up. You got to understand that there are limitations, all right? We talk about forward and rearward limitations, or we call forward and aft center of gravity limitations, all right? We have to operate within these limitations. And what I'm about to do is I'm on the Facebook page, well, first on YouTube. If you guys want to see what I'm talking about as I talk about it, you can follow me on this link here. And if you get there, then what you will see is a couple of images here. Just make it one big image. Okay. So all right, give me a moment, folks. I'm posting it now. See if it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't give me any issues. Okay, very good. So it is posted. So what we have here we have limits. We have forward limits, we have aft limits, okay? So we can load fuel in such a way. We can load cargo in such a way. Armament, any type of exterior apparatus in such a way that the center of gravity will float forward and backwards. Let's think of this side forward and this side backwards. Okay, so let's say this is the entire plane. We want the center of gravity within the limits here. Let's say this is the forward limit and this is the aft limit. Let's say I'm the center of gravity. So I don't want to be too far aft and I don't want to be too far forward because I'll be nose heavy, all right? So there are limitations that we have to adhere to, and there are charts that we can use so that we can see where our center of gravity balances so that we are not too nose heavy or too tail heavy. Let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much all you would probably need to be test ready about. Just knowing that there are forward and aft limitations. If they're aft limitations, you would have trouble recovering from a stall. It'll be less stable at all speeds. Nose heavy is bad, like your round out and your flare, especially for fixed wing, and you flare too in helicopters, so that that would be an issue. So those are things you definitely want to guard against. When you're within limits, you have pretty much total control of your aircraft. I hate using absolutes, but yeah, you have control. You can put in full abrupt control movements and with your stick or your yoke or whatever, and not structurally damage the aircraft. That's the name of the game. Fly the hell out the plane, don't structurally damage it. Okay. Okay. I'm talking about cargo placement and stuff. That's really not that's something you will learn later down the road. and flying. Not so much. There should be an altitude in here, input in here, because I've seen some questions, but we'll talk about ground taxiing. Ground taxi. All right. Helicopters produce the greatest amount of rotor wash when hovering. Thus, it is best to ground taxi whenever possible. This is more difficult with skid-type aircraft. So, your helicopter could have skids, or it could have wheels like this. Now, if it has wheels, then it's easy. You could apply a little collective and then get a little bit of forward motion going. All right. So, like I said, it's a little difficult with skid-type aircraft. Ground taxiing is performed as a very deliberate movement accompanied by ground guides, if needed, to ensure all appropriate clearances are maintained. Loose snow conditions make this action much more difficult than first appearance, as conditions are slippery and stopping will require more distance than normal. It is easier for wheel-type helicopters to ground taxi on snow-covered airfields. However, this is often difficult or impossible due to snow accumulation, and the aircraft may be forced to hover. This places the helicopter in a mode of flight much more challenging than these in weather conditions. So, the thing of it is if it's on the ground, it's kicking up dust, but it's not kicking up dust or snow in this case. Now, if we hover, then we got our vortex motion going. We'll still be in ground effect, so we will be producing a lot more lift at that point. So if there's dust, snow, and stuff like that, this may be blowing the vortexes into the way of the cockpit, and they won't be able to see that well. All right. Swing aircraft taxiing is just pretty much, it's the same thing. Your engines are pretty much, well, if you did have an engine in front of you, it's going to blow everything back and clear everything up. So, it's really not a big deal. And again, guys, if you guys need help, issues, any type of problems, please drop questions. If you're connecting with me on Skype and you want me to talk about a certain event, I will talk about it. All right. Looks like they changed some other stuff here too on Facebook, but Facebook is Facebook. One thing you got one thing going on, next thing you got something else going on. Okay, moving right along. Maintenance, taxing, aircraft towing. Environmental factors. Depth perception. I really should start talking about weather, because that's something that nobody ever really talks about. In the meantime, I'm going to put a question up on Facebook. It's going to be a distance, rate, and time question. And anybody in the live stream can answer it. All right, it's dropping now. And I'm going to find our next thing to get into. All right. And I'm going to post this up for our damn it. Not what I wanted to do. For our YouTubers, that's the first part for our YouTubers. And I'll be dropping the second part any minute now. Start chewing on that, and I am looking for we're going to talk about night flying. Okay. Night operations. All right. This comes from chapter 10. All right. The mechanical operation of an airplane at night is no different than operating the same airplane during the day. The airplane does not know it's being I like that. The airplane doesn't know it's being operated at night or in sunlight or whatever. It just performs in response to the inputs by the pilot. But the pilot, however, is going to be affected by various aspects of night flying operations. And as a pilot, you have to take into consideration, what's going to be happening, how your body responds or operates at night, what you're going to see, and if there's any illusions that you have to, be prepared for, to go through or endure. So, according to good job, Jared. I see you. According to, as far as definitions and abbreviations go, night is defined as the time between the end of evening civil twilight and the beginning of morning civil twilight. To explain further, morning civil twilight begins when the geometric center of the sun is 6 degrees below the horizon and ends at sunrise. Evening civil twilight begins as the sunset ends and begins at sunset and ends when the geometric center reaches 6 degrees below. Is my answer. Okay, we see that. I see that's your answer, sir. All right, good job. Okay. So, as far as night vision goes, we have to understand there's certain requirements, okay? So, night flight, so the term night refers to 1 hour after sunset, ending an hour before sunrise. So 1 hour after sunset, and night ends an hour before sunrise, according to the Code of Federal Regulations in Part 61. Okay. No person can act as a pilot in command during these hours unless that person has made 3 takeoffs and landings to a full stop at night. So just because you're a private pilot, you can't just be like, oh, dude, I got my license, and I'm flown in, 6 months, maybe. And I'm not saying me, I'm just saying this particular hypothetical pilot in this question has not flown for 6 months. But he or she does have a license. They can't just say, hey guys, come on, let's go. All right. Because in the preceding 90 days, they must have done 3 takeoffs and landings at night to a full stop. All right. So this is what we call recency of experience requirements, okay? We have to have that recent experience. We can't just be like, oh, I'll do what I want. Okay, there's regulations governing night operations. Night flying operations should not be encouraged or attempted except by certificated pilots with certifications, okay, with knowledge and experience of the topics that we're about to discuss. So, You got pilots, some of them just operate at daytime. Okay. Night flying should not be encouraged by these guys unless they probably either flown with an instructor or met up with another pilot, did some takeoffs and landings, and the guys said, okay, you take the yoke, and then you get some practice in. Because there's visual cues and visual issues that can occur. All right? So, we got to understand flight physiology. Our brains and our eyes act as a team for our brain. Not for our brain, for us. You know, we're flying at night, my brain and my eyes, they work together. Okay. Due to the physiology of the eye, limitations on sight are experienced in low light, such as nighttime. All right. To see at night, the eyes are used differently than during the day. So it's important to understand the eye's construction. You have to understand we have light-sensitive cells in the retina called rods and cones. Now, the cones are they're very, very effective for day vision. All right. And rods are very effective for night vision. All right. So we got to understand the construction of the eye. We have a bunch of light-sensitive nerves called rods and cones. I talked about that. They're located in the back of the eye or retina. All right, a layer upon which all the images we look at are focused. These nerves connect to the cells of the optic nerve, and that transmits directly to the brain. So the eye's like, hey man, it's like passing off the information to the retina. The image is passed off to the retina, and then the retina contacts the optic nerve and it's like, okay, here, tell the brain this is what's going on. Like, tell the brain that I got a camera here, a camera there. Tell the brain there's a monitor right there. There's a camera there. You know, the light is there, the window's there. Okay, this is what my optic nerve is reporting back to my brain. All right, so rods and cones. Cones are located in the center of the retina, and the rods are concentrated in a ring around the cones. All right. The function of the cones is to detect color, details, and faraway objects. The rods function when something is seen out of the corner of the eye or peripheral vision. They detect objects that are moving but do not give detail or color. So I can kind of see my hand out here in my peripheral. I can see this hand out here. If I'm looking focused straight, I can see here. My rods are like picking that up. There's no detail. What I'm looking at ahead of me, there's detail. But out here, there's no detail. I just know something is moving. Like if I was standing on a farm and I saw this big horse like running, galloping. I'm looking straight ahead, but I know something is like coming and it's like, hey brain, something big is coming this way and we probably need to get out of the way. So very, very important. Although there's not a clear-cut division of the function, the rods make night vision possible. The rods and cones function in daylight and in moonlight, but in the absence of normal light, the process of night vision is placed almost entirely on the rods. The rods are distributed in a band around the cones and do not lie directly behind the pupils, which makes off-center viewing, looking off to the side. So you never look directly at something like YouTube. You don't look directly at the camera. You kind of look off to the center a little bit because you don't have that detail at night because there's a blind spot and it's in your field of vision in the center. The size of the blind spot increases as the distance between the eye and whatever object we're looking at is increased. Therefore, the night blind spot can hide larger objects as the distance between the pilot and the object increases. So this is why we scan a lot. Our head's kind of like that video camera. When we're flying, you know, your head's not just looking straight ahead. You're kind of like your head's on a swivel. You're on a security camera. You're kind of looking as you fly. All right, because you're moving that blind spot to potentially catch objects if you know they're coming at you or near you, or if it's something that you need to see and avoid. All right, so the eye's adaptation, if I can pronounce my words, to darkness is another important aspect of night vision. Okay, when a dark room is entered, it's difficult to see anything at first until your eyes become adjusted. Almost everyone experiences this when they come out of light, and you go into a darkened movie theater. All right, In this process, the pupils of the eyes first enlarge to get in as much light as possible. And in approximately about 5 or 10 minutes, the cones become adjusted to the dim light, and the eyes become approximately 100 times more sensitive to the light than they were before. Much more time, about 30 minutes. So what do we do as pilots? Okay, if we're gonna fly, if I'm gonna fly at night, I'm gonna give it at least 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll come out during the day and pre-flight the aircraft while I got light and I can see everything. I can see the landing gear and I can, I can see what's going on. And I'll pre-flight the aircraft during the day, come back at night, and I'll just sit outside in the dark for 30 minutes. Maybe just talk. Dim your cell phone lights. Dim, on your phone. Because some of you guys like to play on your cell phones. Dim your cell phone lights. Any blast of light is going to start that procedure back over again, and your eyes are going to have to readjust. So 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes, and I'm telling you will see, it'll be a world of difference. Less adjustment time, you'll already be adjusted. I always have a story, don't I? Yeah. When I went through a flight physiology class, what they did was they had half the group sit in the dark movie theater and the other group stay outside in a very well lit area. Okay? And I was in a well lit area. So then at some point they let 30 minutes go by. And then what they do is they take the people that were the well lit half of the class and they bring them into the theater. Right? And so they bring in the theater, okay, yeah, have a seat, right? And you're like, you can't see nothing. You're like, I can't see nothing. Your buddy's like, hey, yo, man, Kino, yeah, sit right here, man. Go right here. You feel the, okay, all right, boom, I got a seat. So then what they would do is they have these little shades project images. Now, the guys that had been sitting in that dark room for 30 minutes, yeah, man, that's a zebra. Oh, that's an airplane. Oh, that's a building. But the people that were in the well-lit area and hadn't had hadn't had enough time for their eyes to adjust, we didn't see nothing. You're like, what, man? I don't see nothing, man. Yeah, you can't see that? The person from the other group, no, I can't see it. So this was a lesson to show, because we were all pilots, but this is a lesson to show all pilots how extremely important that 30 minutes of adjustment is. And then they talk about all this stuff with the lights and the pupils and the adjusting and all that and everything like that and everything. So, really, really important. Okay, I don't see any questions, really. And we talked about, okay, hold on, maybe see. All right, we got that, and we got an answer for that. That was good. And, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get on with my move. I will be back next week, and the move shall be completed. Totally. And, that's really all I have. If you guys don't have any questions, I will be back with topics and stuff like this. This move is just kind of killing me a little bit. So, tomorrow is the SIFT. Post right there. Yeah, tomorrow is the SIFT. And pretty much, I guess, like next week, hopefully, everything will be adjusted and the whole scenery will be different and stuff, as far as like, my operating and the light and all that and everything and stuff. The whole like different situation, different office and stuff like that. But we had to do it. Expansion, and we're getting more people. And so we have to accommodate these people. Stuff that are preparing for their SIFT, ASTBE, OAR, ASVAB, and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much all. I'm going to kill it right now because of the move and all that and everything. Unless something goes really, really nutty, I will be doing the live stream tomorrow for the SIFT. But if I'm kind of getting close to getting my move completed completely, fully, I may cancel it just to get it done. Just to like get it done and over with. Who likes moving? I hate it. And I even have hired people to kind of move like most of the stuff, but I still got to do something. They can't just move like every ounce of everything because, there's computers and sensitive equipment that I hand deliver myself. I don't want, oh yeah, oh yeah, just put that back, man. It's probably okay. And then I go to fire it up. At least if I crack something up like the motherboard or something, and I know how to replace it. I can just get another motherboard and put it in myself. So that's all I have for you guys, man. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being patient. I know we didn't do the AFOQT yesterday because of the move, but this move will be done. Should be done by next Thursday. It should be completely completed, and I should be a happy camper. And you guys will see it when you guys, especially my clients. I have been a little bit cranky. I know I have. Because people just not following instructions and not doing what they're supposed to be doing on my end, and I do apologize for that, guys. But I'm human. Shit, So that's it, guys. So my Facebookers and my YouTubers, man, thanks for coming out. Love you guys for your support. Please continue to support. And I will see you guys during either our independent times. If you are looking for someone, a tutor for the aviation selection test battery, OAR, ASVAB, SIFT, or whatever, I am that guy. I'm the guy. We have a 100% pass rate. Nobody get like crashes and burns. And I make sure you guys are squared away before you go take it. So again, I'm Kino, stemwithkino.com. I will see you guys next week on Aviation Selection Test Battery and OAR Weekly 2020. And it will be in a new building. Peace.